People have problem with Rivers of Blood. And there is a lot of the misinformation going around the internet. People straight up thinking that Rivers of Blood is absolutely overpowered. So I guess it's good idea to just help people understand what they can do against this particular weapon. Is it worth parrying? Nothing is ever worth parrying. It is always coming at the risk. Parrying is inconsistent mechanic. Okay, so maybe first with the roll. When they are close, yeah? You see, like, if you are not gonna panic, you basically need, like, only 2 rolls to outrange Rivers of Blood. You win the trade, you see? Essentially what is happening, my connection with Sato is not that great. It is more than 100 ms because Sato is from NA. But if we would have local connection, or I would predict the move, he would hit me only once. He wouldn't even hit me with the both attacks. And essentially with Greatsword, for example, you are going to win the trade. The thing is that, like, people kind of overestimate how powerful the bleed is on Rivers of Blood, because Sato hit me once with, you know, with the L2. You see? Like, I dodged like a 1 hit completely, and on 1 hit I framed the bleed status. It is not that much. It is around 71 points of build-up. It is essentially really not that big of the deal. Now spam me, Sato. Just remember to have mana. I'm gonna show you like a counter attack, for example, like with weapon like heavy thrusting. You see? It's essentially, it is another trade 1. Do it again, but heal. You can pretty much outspace it just fine with the heavy thrusting attacks. Just reminder, like, again, that it is 100 plus ping. So, yeah, like, some things are inconsistent. If he is going for, like, at 3 hits, you can just, you know, navigate around a little bit to basically punish Rivers of Blood. Another thing, you can straight up roll behind the target. I didn't receive damage. You can basically roll around. You are not gonna get killed. With that third attack that Sato did, he doesn't have enough recovery frames for the sake to counter me again for being staggered by the bleed. You see? And he was still in the recovering animation. I can just basically reset my reset my poise, get away, and the guy is out of the FP. So yeah, you can just straight up like a jump behind, and you're gonna be dodging by doing so. Start to the robustness ring. Yeah, the another thing is that I don't really have that much of the robustness. You have opening for the counter attack. Pike is not even that great for the roll attacks. They're like a better choices. Even like a greatsword, yeah? If you're relatively high on the bar, you can just always get your bolus. Sato, attack me on the range. I want to show you guys more or less the range of the weapon. So the range is around, like, imagine basically length of 2.5 spear, you could say. I got hit by the ping. Normally, like, as you have seen, like, on the animation, I'm supposed to be outside. But yeah, as you can see, like, right now, I have to use the bolus because I had, like, not enough of the bleed bar. But yeah, usually, like, a 1 roll, if you're relatively far away, it's enough. As you also can see, like, if that would be on good ping, I would hit him without receiving damage whatsoever. You can just, like, essentially roll forward and counter with the roll attack. As long as you can deal, like... As you can see, like, you know, even if he is gonna go for the counter attack, you can still roll out. You see? You're just gonna be winning the trades. And on top of that, I am not using the Spear Talisman here. Okay, so yet again about the rolls, because you guys like talking about. Sato, can you, like, do the spam? I'm gonna be rolling towards Sato. As you can see, by correctly timing the rolls, you're just not gonna get hit. The only thing that might hit you is bleed. But, you know, if you have like a fast enough counter weapon, you can punish it. On top of that, after the second sequence of hits, so like the first sequence of Rivers of Blood weapon art is double hit, then it's triple hit, and then you have more powerful singular hit. So after the second hit, you have actually relatively decent amount of the time for the sake to punish the opponent. The window is relatively big. It all depends on the latency. Against Sato, for example, in my case, it is not going to work because our latency is too high. But against good latency, you definitely can do it. And easily. Even like right now, I wasn't thinking about it earlier, but I think Stomp basically counters Rivers of Blood. You are in the priority. So like, essentially, if your weapon is strong enough, you probably win. If you can, like, for example, double combo with that, I guess something like Halberd, like something that applies another pressure, like has like decent running attacks, you are in the priority. For this, for like in exchange for losing HP, you can outplay opponent with the Storm Stomp, essentially. It is like another way how you can potentially counter it. Rivers of Blood is really not a good weapon. It has only weapon art, it is the only strength of it, and it must be used as a mind game. If you get in upset because you're dying to Rivers of Blood, it is most likely because you are rolling too much, because you are just making the mechanical mistakes. It is not the game that's supposed to adapt to you. It is not the game that's supposed to obey the imaginary rules of yours. It is you that's supposed to adapt to the current meta of the game. Currently, situation looking like that, like Rivers of Blood is a viable tool, but only as a gimmick. If you're gonna learn how to play against it, you're gonna actually be winning. Simple like that. Like Rivers of Blood is not going to be that big of the deal. This is the reason why, for example, on the comp PvP discords and stuff like this weapon is not banned, because it is eventually player that might actually make the weapon looks overpowered. The weapon on its own is not overpowered. Like regular attacks on this weapon are just dog shit because it has like a split scaling. It is not very good. 99% of the reason to complain about Rivers of Blood is when you are fighting gankers who have it and it's obviously overpowered there, when they have teammates to protect them, when they spam the weapon art. Yeah, but this is up to you to, you know, to find the 1v1 scenarios. It's completely up to you to actually outplay in the way that you can force 1v1s and win. This is like how every gank is going. Because you could say the same about, for example, dual Naginatas with the Occult, like, or Bleed, yeah? It's like, it is exactly the same. Like a double Cold Pike and stuff like this. If plenty of people gonna start spamming status effects at you, it's gonna be just hard to get over it. If like you're gonna have people that are gonna be spamming seppuku and shit, you're gonna have like a hard time with the freaking status effects, because status effects are very powerful and status effects are very dominant. It's just that like Rivers of Blood is actually worse than most of these because it applies less of the bleed effect. If you're like dodging everything correctly, you're gonna get hit twice. So you're gonna receive 140 of the bleed buildup, which is definitely less than running attack of like double pikes or naginatas or whatever. It's just really not that strong tool even when it comes to ganks. Application of, you know, of that shit is just not that powerful as people think. It's also good against gankers because you can 1 versus 3 them with it. That's true. Like it's like gimmick weapon. You can actually like cover many of plays and just like beat people with it. Also good against gankers. I don't think it's broken given you can connect it up with a staggered stun. Yes, double Reduvias can be more annoying than Rob. I didn't test it, so I cannot tell about that. Double Nagi is basically... It can... double Nagi is basically a bleed proc on some armor sets. Yeah, one running attack, it's bleed proc. It can all hit you if the bleed hits and stagger you. Like what people also forget, like this weapon cannot be like infused by other stuff. It's like unique weapon, so it has like a fixed moveset you can adapt to it. Double bleed Nagi is banned on PvP server, Rob is not, and for a good reason, because Rob is not that strong. Overhyped by many people. Misunderstood how powerful it really is. Let's actually let's use the BHS. How about it? Let's see like how it works like in case if you're gonna use BHS. Yeah. It's like 1. Now let me go behind you. Like, the difference in power between these two abilities, it's not even comparable. BHS is so much stronger than Rivers of Blood weapon up. Okay, let's go. But like, look even like how easy it is to get through that attack. Like, you can just like, if you're paying attention, well, ping, sadly. Look at the difference in damage. Like double pike actually, and just to make things clear, nothing I have is actually optimized. Hey. Like, you know, as you can see, you can just easily outspace with dual spears. It's like you're basically locked in the animation. You have to use Rivers of Blood only as the hard swap weapon. Outspace would be only easier if God and I had lower ping. The lower ping, the easier it is to outspace people around. And right now we are like probably like, you know, easily 100 plus, 150, something like that. Yeah, it depends in which part of America he is living. You're in California, like, come on, like, we have like a actually ultra bad ping. Overall, Rivers of Blood really not as powerful as especially casual audience painting it. Instead of complaining about things, you just gotta overcome it. You just gotta have to think about how I can potentially counter something and go for it. Yeah, it is noob killer, it's noob stomper essentially, because the biggest mistake that people go with is that they are spamming roll. They are like not waiting for the correct moment. They are not waiting with that roll button. They are just like, oh, attack incoming! Ah, click fast! And you know, and they're like, oh, it killed me, it's broken, what the fuck, it's spammable fucking shit, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, you know, it's not working like that. It's there is like a huge difference between like something being overpowered and you just like not exactly understanding how to play around it. Like the fact like you are, for an example, bad against one particular weapon doesn't mean like the weapon is bad. It means that you, in this particular case, have to get good a little bit. And you will. You just have to give it a try.